Here on The Colour of Country Life, we're speaking with Sophie Baldiwn. She's fed up and decided she's going to run for federal parliament. How are you, Sophie?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Now, whereabouts are you from, Sophie, first of all?
Kahuna local, so down the other end of the electorate, actually. So born and bred and spent the majority of my life in and around Kahuna.
And what do you do for a crust? What do you do with yourself these days?
Well, I'll just take a step back. And 24 years I was a dairy farmer. I've been a rural journalist for 14 years, and I'm currently involved with water advocacy. So bit of a all-rounder, but definitely community and agriculture at the heart.
All right, well, we'll talk about water in a little bit, but the seat you're wanting to run for is held by the National Party. It's the seat of Mallee in northwest Victoria. How do you rate your chances getting up in the seat?
I'd like to think they're pretty good. That's why I've put my hand up. I think there's real appetite for change. I think people are sick of the party politics, and they actually want to have a representative that represents their concerns, and I think there is just a real appetite for change, especially in Mallee.
All right, and as I said at the start, I might have over-egged it that you're fed up with what's going on in federal politics. Usually people are if they decide to put their hand up. What's been the turning point for you to decide you want to run for office?
I guess my role in water advocacy, I've dealt with quite a few government departments and politicians, and I could see that the rural community just doesn't have a voice. I mean, we are significant contributors to the economy. We need to have a voice, and we need to be listened, and I feel like that is really not happening in the current climate.
Well, we'll talk about water just shortly, but I gather if you're running, you might have something to say about the record of the existing MP, Anne Webster, the member for Mallee. You got a view on whether she's given local people enough of a voice in Canberra?
Well, I can't speak for Anne personally, but from the conversations that I've had, there is a lot of people looking for change. And I think you've only got to look at where Mallee is sitting. There's subpar roads. We've got a lot of no investment in future infrastructure. We pay 6 times the average for city counterparts in our rural rates, and our medium weekly salary is $500 below the country average. So those sort of things speak for themselves.
Yeah, now, just on rates, you just reminded me, early in February you appeared or showed support for the independent member for Mildura, Ali Cupper's campaign she calls RateGate. You mentioned about the disparity in council rates. You want to shake things up so that councils in your local community get more funding from the federal government? Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, imagine if we had a federal and state politics that were working together to actually ensure positive outcomes for the community and the electorate. I mean, imagine the opportunities. It might be rates now, but I'm sure there's other things down the track that we can work together on and get some real positive results.
Well, something that Ali Cupper has advocated for is the return of passenger rail to Mildura. Is that something, I know Malcolm Turnbull was keen on public transport. Are you a supporter of maybe some federal funds to help get passenger rail up to Mildura?
Yeah, for sure. But maybe not only passenger. How about we look at getting the all our commodities and have a dual system that we can use into the future. Let's not think about today. Let's think about 30, 40, 50, 60 years down the track. That's the sort of infrastructure that can bring us all together and give us really positive outcomes for Mallee and the country.
All right, well, you mentioned your past in water advocacy, the Murray-Darling Basin Plan. I think it's got 2024 is a critical date for states to have reached their water recovery targets. What's your overall view about the Basin Plan? Some say it needs to be paused and have a bit of a rethink. What's your view?
Yeah, I'd be on the pause and the rethink category for sure. I certainly agree with the principles of a connect river system, and I have no issue with water for the environment. Obviously, if that's not done correctly, that's when the issues start to arise. I don't support any more water coming out of irrigated agriculture, and I think when you implement a $13 billion basin plan, surely there must be some point along the line where you just take a step back and reflect and look at what has worked, what hasn't, and, has it hit the key principles of, socio-economic and environmental. Have we hit those three pillars across the implementation? And I think you would find, if you get out and talking to the community, that it is lacking in some of those areas.
Just on that subject, say that's one topic perhaps, that if we had a situation like I think it was 2010, Julia Gillard, Tony Abbott went to the polls, neither of them could fold government and they had to deal with independence. Is that an issue you'd put on the table and say you want a pausing of the plan as your condition for your support?
I can't preempt that one, mate. I guess we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, look, I'm certainly an advocate for water, but I'm also an advocate for agriculture and the environment. So I think we've just got to try and get to a point where we can get a workable solution for everyone. Obviously, the initial idea of the plan, nobody had a problem with that, but the implementation has probably moved away from how it was originally meant to be.
All right, well, Sophie, we've got an absence of a federal election date at this stage. Parliamentarians returned to Canberra today, but we'll keep an eye on your campaign and catch you sometime before what's potentially a May election.
Yep, thanks, mate. Thanks for your time.